I was reading a book to do a review on for today. In the end, I got about 25% in, according to my Kindle, and then simply returned the book to the author with a did not finish. I am not going to review a book that I could not finish, so instead I'm going to talk about how to do right what the author did so wrong. I'm going to talk about writing social commentary in an effective way, and I'm going to review 3 specific worlds that provided what is, in my opinion of course, the most effective and thought-provoking social commentary. Those 3 worlds are Terra de Ange, Starless, and Moomin Valley. My name is Marie Mullaney, and this is a slightly unusual episode of Just in Time Worlds. If you like it, hit the like button. Let me know in the comments what you think of this kind of review and if you'd like to see more of it. Okay, let's get cracking. First, let's talk about Terra de Ange. This is the world built by Jacqueline Carey for the bulk of her writing. There are 3 trilogies set in the world, but for the purpose of this review, I'm going to focus on the first and maybe just touch on the second. The core philosophical principle of Terra de Ange is love as thou wilt. This principle seems deceptively simple at first. The easiest consequence of this principle is that it is a very sex-positive world. Prostitution is not only legal, it is celebrated. There are 12 houses of prostitutes of both sexes, which is called the Court of the Night-Blooming Flowers, and they cater to literally all tastes and flavors of sex. That alone, the judgment-free acceptance of sex, would have been enough to see Terra de Ange land high on my list of thought-provoking fantasy novels. But the author takes it even further. Her main character is Phaedra, who is an Angusette. And that is exactly what you think it is. It's a masochist, but not just a masochist. It is a God-touched masochist. One of the pantheon of Terra de Ange is Kushil, who was once the punisher of the one god and grew to love his charges too much, and so followed Eloah into exile from the one god's court. And Kushil put a blood fleck in Phaedra's eye and marked her as his own. Jacqueline Carey, in an interview, once described Phaedra as a girl in distress who likes being in distress. So we have both sex positivity and the acceptance of kink in sexuality. And of course, in a society like that, it is extremely accepting of bi, gay, and lesbian sex. Love as thou wilt is the whole of the law, and the characters show us, the readers, that if that was the world we lived in, it would be a gentler, kinder, and much, much better world than one filled with hatred and prejudice. And Miss Carey achieves this without ever once making it feel as though you are being judged, as though she is speaking down to you, or as though she is preaching at you. The plot tension lines are incredible. The historical research that she went into is awe-inspiring, and there are scenes in the book where I still cry, even though I've read the books at least 20 times. So the issues that are tackled by Terra de Ange is sex positivity, same-sex relationships, gender roles, the harm that can be caused by man's cruelty, and the importance of consent. Okay, let's move on to Starless. Starless is also from Jacqueline Carey, but it's in a completely different world. In order to discuss the social commentary in this novel, I have to spoil the book. So if you want to read the book and you don't want it spoiled, you have a 5-second warning now to skip to the Moomins chapter. If you're on a mobile device, click the arrow next to the description and select the Moomin chapter. If you're on a PC or a TV, use the red progress bar to skip to the Moomin chapter. Okay, I hope that you have skipped on, and here come the spoilers. In the world of Starless, a shadow and a light are born together, and they are jointly God-touched. The story is told from the first-person perspective of the shadow who has been born. The shadow is raised by what amounts to monks dwelling in the isolation of the desert. For the first third of the book, the narrator, the first-person narrator, thinks that they are male because that's what the monks who are raising them tells them. The reader starts having some suspicions, perhaps, but the narrator is absolutely sure that they are about to get their testosterone-fueled growth spurt when they find out that they're Bazim. Bazim in this world is a girl who is raised as a boy due to societal reasons. So she is a girl. The monks could think of no other way to raise her because they're an all-male society. When the narrator discovers that they are not male, that they are never going to get that male testosterone-driven growth spurt, it's quite devastating to the narrator, and a large part of the character development is the acceptance of changing mentality from a boy to a girl. It is done so well, it makes so much sense in the story, and yet it shines a delicate and compassionate spotlight on the issue of transsexuality, and it does it with empathy. It shows you the journey that a transsexual person goes through, and it shows you that journey with compassion. And then in the end, the shadow and her light, who is also a girl, fall in love, and at first they try and resist being in a relationship because the princess, who is the light, has to marry for politics. But in the end, they realize that they deserve their happiness and they enter a same-sex relationship. And through all this, the plot is an incredibly high fantasy adventure where the shadow and the light literally save the world. It's an absolute doorstop of a book since it's a single standalone novel, but it is well worth the read. Societal issues tackled, transsexuality and same-sex relationships. Finally, let me summon all of Finland and talk about Moomin Valley. This is a series of books written by a Finnish author called Tove Jansson in the 1950s. The Moomin books have been translated into many languages. Up here in Finland, those books and the author are considered national treasures. We have Moomin cups, we have Moomin museums. It's Moomin land up here. They were also turned into a TV show, which is available on YouTube. There is a link in the description if you've never seen it and you want to. What you need to know is that the author was in a committed lesbian relationship in the 50s during a time when that was illegal in Finland. The characters, Thigamy and Bob, were representative of the author and her lovers, and the translation of those names is truly terrible. The original Swedish names were pet names that they shared, being Tofslan and Vifslan. Thingamy and Bob carry around the King Ruby, which is representative of their love for each other, and it shines in many colors, but they hide it in a suitcase because otherwise people would take it from them. The Groak is following them and is trying to get back the King's Ruby from them. The Groak represents depression and self-destruction, as well as the inability to be accepted and to accept being loved, and hence appearing as a cold, remote and frightening figure, when in fact you just don't know how to connect to people due to your depression and self-destructive emotions. And that's why the Groak kills everything she moves across, until Moomintroll gives her his friendship and she accepts that, and hence the curse on her is broken. And this is all told through these adorable children's stories with these amazing cartoons. I loved these books as a child. As an adult, I love them even more. It was as an adult that I read the deeper meaning in Tove's stories, and that being, society can be so much better if we just show each other love, compassion, and understanding. Moomin Valley addresses same-sex relationships, the terror of depression, the horror of the Second World War, and the survivor's guilt of having lived through that. All that without once feeling like it's judging you or preaching at you. If you've never read them, do yourself a favor and read the Moomin books. If you have children, let your children read them. Remember, Finland is the happiest place in the world, and believe me, all Finnish children have read the Moomin books. And that was what I wanted to share with you today about subtlety in handling social themes rather than clubbing people in the face with your opinion. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Also, let me know if you would like to watch more videos that take specific books and analyze them as I did here. My name is Marie Mullaney, and this has been Just in Time Worlds. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode, consider supporting me via Ko-fi, and consider subscribing. And see you soon for another video.